Hello children, how are you? I hope all are well. Today welcome to social class, the abolition of slavery. Slavery meaning. Before that, I will give us some subtopics what we have to learn in this. Abolition of slavery was one of the revolutionary social reform by Jacobins, and Napoleon reintroduced slavery in 1804, and it was in 1848 when finally slavery was abolished in French colonies. Slavery meaning bringing the Negroes or dark colored people from Africa. They were forced to work in field of rich people in United States and not given any kind of wages. These bondage were called as slavery. One of the most revolutionary social reforms to the Jacobin government was the abolition of slavery in the French colonies. Means the abolition was not very easy in France. It took nearly 100 to 150 years to abolish slavery. First of all, what is need of slaves for the French people? Actually, the French people never needed themselves any slaves. They used to buy Negroes from local chiefs. They used to go all a long way to Africa, and after reaching Africa, the famous ports Nantes and Bordeaux, after reaching there, they used to buy the slaves by giving him some gift. The exploitation slave labor made it possible to meet growing demand Euro markets. Port cities like Bordeaux and Nantes owed their economic prosperity to the flourishing slave trade. In the 18th century, there was a little criticism of slavery in France. National Assembly held a long debate to abolish slavery system, but they did not pass any laws fearing opposition from businessmen whose income depended on the slavery. In this slide, I am going to explain you how they have to got the trouble from the local chieftains. So I told her where they have to buy the slaves by giving him some gift, and later they used to pack them tightly, buckle their hands under the conditions were horrible and severe. Whoever alive only survived till the last. If anyone died because of suffocation or a way health issue, they will thrown in the middle. See how a pathetic conditions of slaves. And like this, the slaves of Negroes of Africa are imported to America to work in fields to give a great economic gain for American landlords. So the people traveled from the Europe to Africa, from Africa to America. This triangle slave trade continues more than century. French merchants sailed from the ports of Bordeaux and Nantes to the African coast where they bought slaves from the local chieftains. The slaves were packed tightly into the ships from the 3 months long journey across the Atlantic to the Caribbean. They were sold to plantations owners. That I said for you now only. So what is that? It's a very horrible condition for the slaves to survive their life during the 18th century. The slaves, when packed tightly, they have so much suffocation, and if they have to survive, then they until the last they have to work. if they are not because of the suffocation or ill health they eliminated in this process. It was finally it was finally the conventions which changed 1794 legislature to free all slaves in the France overseas law. This worked a short time measures, that is 10 years later Napoleon reintroduced slavery concept because he wanted more numbers slaves to justify his rule to be a larger economic interest. Later 1848 completely banned. In this slide, what we have to understand, many of the Americans branded as Negroes when taken away from their homelands to the far up distant places and forced to work on very hardship situation. So some of the famous places where they have to receive the slaves, San Domingo, Martinico and Guadeloupe are the some stations, the home places for the Negroes who migrated the Africa and exported are brought to America. Finally, 1794, after continuous debate, serious discussion, the existing directory rule has given free slaves. Free slaves means they are become free from the overseas and banned the slave trade. They this work it will be a worked only for the 10 years. Later, Napoleon, who declared himself as a monarch of France, reintroduced it in 1804. French 1804 to 1848. Slavery was continued finally in 1848 completely banned. Like this, it came to end. See here, there was a encouraged by the African countries because the local chiefs sells their own tribal people at very low cost. The European people buy them and export them United States in very suffocating situations in the ships which are filled with 3 to 400 people in single room and very hard time for them to spend on the boat and later they will go to the countries like San Domingo, Martinico and Guadeloupe. There are there are exported the famous ports from where the Nanites and Bordeaux finally 1794 directory rule has been given free trade and number of slaves further they have become free. But in 1804, Napoleon he has been reintroduced the slavery concept because he wants more number of slaves to justify his rule to be a larger economic interest and later 1848 slavery completely banned. With this abolition of slavery happened in France 1848.